Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT grammar questions out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problems that we are about to solve are the ones that you will find on page number 602. Please turn to it. Page 602, and today is our lesson number 19. There are 18 of these questions. The first few that we did yesterday on the previous page, on page number 601, they were all easy questions. The ones that we're going to do today in the first column are medium questions, and in the second column on the right hand side, those are hard questions. Let's get going. Number 20. It says, social scientists agree that a system for exchanging goods and services, a system for exchanging goods and services, a system is not only present, but also it reads of necessity. Instead of saying a system is not only present, but also of necessity, what it should say is a system is not only present, but also necessary. The answer is D. The answer is D. The way the sentence starts out, social scientists agree that a system for exchanging goods and services, the way it starts out is fine, which tells us that the answer is not A or B. Turns out the answer was not C either. This is fine, not only is fine. So it says a system is not only present, but also necessary, not of necessity. The answer is D. Next one. A system is not only present, but necessary. Number 21. A report Alexander is discussing, a report prepared jointly by, he and the committee. Something. Now, here's the deal. Ask yourself, how would this sentence read if we were not dealing with these two people here? This person, whatever his name is, Alexander, and the committee. It says a report Alexander is discussing, a report prepared jointly by. Let's pretend that it's not jointly. Let's pretend that the committee does not exist. If the committee does not exist, then it reads like this. It says a report prepared by he. A report. It says the report the Alexander is discussing. A report that Alexander is discussing. The report that Alexander is discussing. A report prepared by he. Not prepared by he. The report was prepared by him. Now the fact that it's not just Alexander but it's also the committee, that it doesn't change the fact that it should be him. A report prepared jointly by him and the other people. It's not going to change the fact that just because there is a committee there, just because there are other people present there, it still has to be him. It was prepared by him and the other people, not he. The answer is B. Let's move on. Number 22. Number 22. It is far easier to ride bicycle. It is far easier to ride bicycle than explaining done. As I always told you, our purpose here of exercising, of doing these questions, these exercises, is to train ourselves to recognize the juicy bits and leave out the boring bits. This is the gist of the sentence. This is the essence. This is the nub of the sentence. What it says is that it is far easier to ride bicycle than explaining how it is done. The problem with this sentence is what is known as parallel construction, the sixth item on our list that we look for. As we get into harder and harder questions, they get a little bit lower in the list here, and the harder questions, they begin to test you on the idioms. Idioms are very difficult to master, and which is why they appear typically in the hard questions. We'll get to that in a second. But here we're dealing with parallel constructions, and the parallel construction demands that if you're going to say that it is far easier to ride a bicycle, then you have to go on to say it is far easier to ride a bicycle than to explain. Not explaining. Than to explain. I misspelled it, but don't worry about it. It is far easier to ride a bicycle than to explain how it is done. The answer is B. We could say it like this. It is far easier to ride a bicycle than to explain. It is far easier to ride a bicycle than to explain how it is done. Or we could also say it is far easier riding a bicycle than explaining how it is done. But of course, we don't have a liberty of changing this part. Riding, the word ride is not underlined. It is far easier to write. It is not underlined, so we can't change that part. So therefore, we have to change B to make it parallel, to make it consistent. The answer is B. What does it mean? Now, I said our job is to capture the gist of the sentence, the essence of the sentence. Concentrate on the juicy bits, not on the boring bits. Our job is to capture the nub of the sentence. What does it mean? Nub means exactly what it says here, what we just said here. It means essence, the gist, the core of something. We learned this word, I'm digressing here, in our vocabulary lesson here. Let's see when we learned it. Day number 11. Just type in SAT vocabulary words, day 11. SAT vocabulary words, day 11. And you will see a video where we learned this word nub, along with some other words that will help you improve your vocabulary in the SAT, for the SAT, if you are interested in getting a decent score in the writing part, in the reading portion of the exam. Next one, number 23. George wanted for the most part to travel around the world after graduation. George wanted for the most part. There is nothing wrong with this part. This is fine. You want it for the most part to travel around the world after graduation. After graduation, there is nothing wrong with this part also. You want it for the most part to travel around the world after graduation. So the answer we know now at this point is not A or B. But sometimes he thought about, sometimes he thought about which is also fine so far, taking a job, which is also fine. George wanted, for the most part, to travel around the world after graduation. But sometimes he thought about taking a job. That's all. There is nothing wrong with this sentence. The answer is E. This sentence is fine the way it is. How does one improve the sentence? The answer is one does not. It is a beautifully written sentence. It doesn't need any improving. Let's go on to the last one, number 24. Number 24. Since some people are convinced that Some people are convinced that dowsing is effective, but others condemn the procedure as mere superstition. Let's see what we can do here. Dowsing, they go on to explain what that is. It's you make a Y-shaped sticks and you go around and somehow, supposedly, one locates the source of water. So it says, since some people are convinced that dowsing, a method of finding underground water with a Y-shaped stick, is effective. Some people think that it's effective, but others condemn the procedure as mere superstition. This is C and this is D. And A and B, some people are convinced. Ah, there you go, there is your problem. The way I just read it. Some people are convinced, not since. Some are convinced. There you go. B was fine. I was trying to figure out where the problem was. I don't know, for some reason it starts out with the word since. We don't need the word since. It's just some people are convinced that the method works, but others condemn it as mere superstition. It shouldn't start with since. That's it. There is your answer. Answer is A. The answer is A. All we have to do is cross out the word since. One more time. Some people are convinced that this dowsing, method of dowsing to locate the underground water is effective, but others condemn it as mere superstition. That was it. I will see you tomorrow. We'll do the problems in the next column, which are the hard ones. Alright? Bye now.